Okay, so we are live now.
Yay!
Yay. Okay, hello everybody. I'm Hilary Van Ness and I wrote the book Empath Uncovered. And I've been doing these empath interviews because I feel like they're important. And so because I feel like people introduce themselves better than I would, I would like for you to introduce yourself.
No problem. No problem. Hi, I'm Michele Amburgey. I'm known as the Awakener. And I've known Hillary for a very long time. We've done all kinds of fun stuff together. And, when when you wrote this book, I was so excited for you because I just found out I was an empath. And so I'm really excited to talk about this. But just to let people know, I'm Michele Amburgey. I have been working as a healer and intuitive for about 20 years professionally. I have been clairvoyant, clairaudient, psychic since I was a child. And I just recently have had a new awakening into a broader scope of the work that I do. And I still encompass, energy healing and intuitive stuff. I'm a life coach. I'm a certified clinical hypnotherapist, past life regressionist, sound healer. We get into all these things. We start playing in all this yummy stuff. And I now am moving into being a new earth visionary and also what is known as an Araku, which is the mentor for the new earth leaders. And so there's a lot of exciting stuff going on. And it all kind of ties back into when I realized I was an empath. And that's why I had wanted to talk to you, Hillary, because you've known you're an empath a lot longer than I have. And so this is super exciting, and I'm really honored to be here with you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I wouldn't say that I think in the last one I said, it's not like you go to the doctor and are diagnosed as an empath. It's not like necessarily solid. It's just and I could never tell anybody they're not an empath. It would just be very much like how you identify. If you identify as one, then you are one. If you don't identify as one, you might still be one, but
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that. I love that.
yeah. So if you had to explain fairly quickly to somebody who didn't have any idea what an empath was or had never heard the term before, how would you describe it to them?
Mm. I would describe it as being vitally interactive with all that exists around you. You feel everything. You feel people's emotions. You feel people's thoughts, even sometimes. You feel, and we were talking about this just a minute ago, you feel the color, you feel the feng shui of the room, you feel what's happening outside the walls of your home. You feel everything. For me, the being an empath is the feeling everything. And then it kind of translates into other things. I know for me, it translates into my psychic abilities. And so it's a part of that too.
Yeah. For me, I would always say it's feeling like picking up on other people's emotions and not realizing that they're theirs and not mine. I think everything's mine. And especially recently with like COVID and everything, I've been realizing how I really am an empath because there's so much doubt always. But like how I'm picking up on stuff, I don't go out, I don't see anybody, I just hang out with my family occasionally, but it's like all of a sudden I'll be exhausted for no reason, like nothing's happened, and I don't watch the news and I don't pay attention to any of that kind of stuff, so it's just like what's happening? And so that just is more proof to me each time it happens that okay, I need to like go within and meditate because like something's going on that I'm not aware of, but internally the empath in me and is soaking it up and maybe not in a good way.
Yeah.
So
And we live in a world, there's all these cycles. We have the moon cycles and we have the interplanetary cycles, and a lot of empaths feel that too. When the moon is full, it's like, whoa, or you can't sleep, or, we just are sensitive to everything that's going around. And one of the things is, it is a superpower. but it's kind of learning how to modulate it so it's not smacking you around all the time. Because I do the same thing like you. Like I'm cruising along and all of a sudden, what happened?
Yeah. Could you talk a little bit about your journey to discovering or identifying with the term yourself?
Yes, it was actually really interesting. So, like I said, I've been doing this work for 20 years since the year 2000. I've been a professional intuitive, which I mean, you have to be sensitive to things, right? I always thought I was sensitive. I communicate with angels and ascended masters, and I do energy healing, and, I feel things. But I never thought of myself as an empath. I've known empaths. Knew you. I mean, still know you. Um, and I'm like, wow, that's so cool. And oh wow, and I've even helped empaths learn how to protect their energy fields. But it wasn't until about 4 years ago that I moved into a home, and it was a nice, big, beautiful home. And I moved in, I got myself settled in, and then a roommate moved in, and she had boxes everywhere. And it was making me a little bit crazy. And so in my dreams, I started seeing this home filled with boxes everywhere. And I could smell the boxes and I could feel the boxes. And I felt like everything was closing in on me. And I got really upset with her because I thought it was her boxes, which in hindsight, it wasn't that many boxes. There was maybe 20 boxes in the hallway. But I kept thinking it was her boxes. And I was like, get your boxes unpacked. I can smell them making me sick. And I had a class at my home maybe about a month later. And one of the students that came in and she said, oh my gosh, my sister used to live or work with the lady who lived in this home before you. And, do you want to know, it was like a scandal thing. I'm like, ooh, what is it? They were hoarders. And she said there was a pathway from the living room that we were sitting in for the class down the hallway and into the room that I slept in. The other thing that was going on there at the time is that the gentleman had committed suicide in the room that was my bedroom. And so there was all of this crazy energy going on, and I could feel it all. I felt it all. I felt almost like the crushing weight. I knew the house was haunted because there was just a few weird things, but like that's a haunting. But that was when I realized, oh my God, I'm an empath. I am feeling the intensity of this house at a later date, right? The energy and the frequency and the vibration was in that house still. And it was like, oh, I'm an empath. And when I said that to myself, everything since childhood went bing, bing, bing. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Right? All the way up to the current moment. And so it was a huge revelation because it made me realize how much I do feel in my everyday world, not just when I'm doing my work, right? I feel it all. And I like with you, Hillary, you're saying all of a sudden you get tired. I realized that I start feeling stuff that's coming at me before it happens. And like I'll start getting mad about something. I don't even know why I'm mad. And I've been accused of being a little bit psycho. And I realize I'm feeling stuff that's actually coming toward me and I'm responding emotionally before it even happens.
It's like a knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah. Yeah. Or even happy things. I'm like, do, 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 do. It's like, why are you so happy? I don't know. And so it transcends time and space sometimes too. And I know that I've asked both of my children, do you ever experience this? They're like, yeah. So I think it's probably a lot more common than people realize too. It's not just what we're experiencing now, what's going on now, but it's a little bit bigger than that. So if there's anybody out there that feels like they're crazy, you might just be an empath.
Yeah, and I know that people use the term empathy and a lot of times are not necessarily comfortable or confident using the term empath because they don't really know what it means or they don't like have a connection to the term, or nobody's ever asked them if they are an empath. Because I
Mhm.
actually have a video up on, I think it mainly Facebook. I think I have the full video on Facebook where I asked to do that. She's over here. Kim. I asked Kim if she would want to be interviewed, because I think that she's an empath, and her sponsor has said that she's an empath, and then the other lady, Bree, in their podcast at one point had mentioned in passing that she was an empath, but her response was interesting to me because it seemed like nobody had ever asked her personally if she identified as one. Everybody is just like, you are one. You just are. Like, so I think, yeah, I think it's really interesting when um, people don't have the terminology yet, which is another big reason why I want to do this. Is I don't claim to have all the answers or any answers, really. I'm kind of trying to figure it out on my own and be like, this is where I'm coming from, and this is where other people are coming from, and maybe our experiences can help you feel like you're not alone, and that, you know, all that. Because when I found it, I joined some Facebook pages, and I was like, wait, I thought I only did that. Oh, that wasn't. Oh, okay, maybe that's an empath thing. Through some of these interviews, I'm like, I thought that was just a person thing. Oh, that might be an empath thing as well. So it's just like I'm also doing this to like learn myself and get feedback from other people, younger and older. It just, you know, depends on the day.
Right. And I'm sure, it's like anything, people experience this in different ways, some very intensely and some just kind of light. And it's true that the empathy is kind of a natural human emotion. My experience is being an empath and having empathy are kind of two different things
I
along
agree.
parallel, but a different experience for most people.
Yeah. I always mess this up a little bit. I'm going to try to say it correctly. I feel like you can't be an empath without having empathy, but you can have empathy without being an empath.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I think that's what people are like, well, I don't think I'm an empath, but I have empathy. But it's just the heightened level of empathy, I think, that you could potentially develop and become an empath, I think.
Ooh,
But
yeah. That's a
yeah.
good point.
Yeah. I was wondering, because this is one of the questions I ask people, because I need help with boundaries in regards to being, well,
Oh,
probably all around, but like specifically in regards to being an empath and protecting my energy and all that. So my question is, how do you create boundaries for yourself as an empath specifically when you go into
that
the world?
that is such a great question because another thing I discovered with finally realizing I really am an empath, not just a sensitive, is I realized that people that really have the empath experience need a little extra tools to protect their fields because I was doing and you've been around me, we've been around each other for a long time, and I'm like white light and violet flame and do your prayers and your meditation, it's all great. But when you're an empath, when you have that heightened sensitivity, you really need to have good boundaries, and a lot of times it's more than just the white light and the violet flame. A lot of times it's saying no to people, places, experiences that are hurting you. And that was something that I learned. I actually started making some really strict boundaries in my life. Certain people, I was like, no, I love you, but I can't play with you anymore. And the house where this great revelation happened, I was actually sharing it with someone who was a mentor of mine. And I had to actually say no to that person. No, because there were things that were going on there. And I believe it was really a divine revelation for me. But I've had to say no to a lot of things in my life. And I've had to take the time and nurture myself, because as a natural healer, we give and we give and we give, and then we crash, and then we get better, and then we give and we give,
We're
the
empty and
cycle.
we still give.
And that, right, exactly, we're crawling on the floor and we're like, can I help you? And it's really important to say no to the things in your physical life and physical realm that are draining you, that are hurting you. I know a lot of people, when they really begin to understand their sensitivity, they begin to say no to toxic relationships and toxic people. I had to let a family member go, as in, kind of, you're dead to me. And that wasn't my words, that was their words. But it was like, I can't have you in my life anymore. Every time I get around you, I get shaky inside, I get confused, and this person is not a good person, and they're manipulative, and I'm finding too that manipulative people make me feel, I feel very very much confused. And that's one of my cues, is I can tell when I'm being manipulated, is I feel the confusion. So instead of just being confused, it's like, oh, wait a minute. When I feel this way, this person is being manipulative. Because people can be really good manipulators and you don't even realize it, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, how'd I end up here? So it's recognizing things and saying no to things that hurt you. And the other part of that is, all of a sudden you begin to recognize the things that support you too. And you have open spaces to say yes as well.
That's amazing. Cause yeah, that's kind of where I'm at in my life right now, is realizing how true the statement is that no is a complete sentence.
Yes.
Because my entire life I'd say no because, and then I'd have to like tell everybody everything and every aspect of why I couldn't do it, because I felt so bad and I was so guilty, and like, oh, I can't because I'm really tired and I'm doing this, and it might not seem like I'm tired from something you would do, but it's tired for me. And you just like, and now I'm just like, no, it doesn't feel good. It's not right at this moment in time. It's not for me. No. And it feels pretty good sometimes just to like empowering to that's a way of self-care, is just no.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love you, but no. So yeah,
Yeah,
you saying that is just so
I
perfect.
love you, but no. And what is so cool too is, a lot of times when we're not really, really like taking it seriously, that we need these boundaries, we say no. And as soon as we start explaining ourselves, we start losing our power, like you said, and then they could talk us out of it. And then, and then we feel guilty. That's another thing that is huge with empaths, because a lot of times we don't realize why we're saying, I don't like this. But you said a wonderful statement. No, that doesn't feel good to me. That is it in a nutshell. If it doesn't feel good, it's not for you. It's not right. It's not wrong. The other person or whatever, not right, not wrong, but it doesn't feel good for you, so it's not for you. Huge for empaths.
Yeah, no, I think that some of my really bad experiences taught me that what you're saying, I'm kind of just repeating it, but in a different way, is that, okay, you meet somebody and immediately you don't like them. I don't want to have anything to do with this person. And that doesn't mean that they're a bad person or a bad human or evil or anything. It's just their energy doesn't work with my energy. And that's okay. And, so you just need to be like, okay, I need to pay attention to this, because that's what happened when I met she ended up being the person who cyber stalked and cyber harassed me.
Yeah.
But I remember the second that I met her at a convention, and she knew the other person I was talking to. She didn't say one word, but I already was like, I hate her. I despise her. I don't have anything to do with her. And then my brain comes in and is like, Hillary, what the hell? Like, you don't even know this person. She hasn't said one word to you. How could you already have an opinion about her? And then I proceeded to become really close with her and friends. And then she fucked me over. So, it's just like, I've learned from that and other experiences, but mainly that one, that it's, just because you think that you shouldn't have, yeah, you talk yourself out of it. But yeah,
Yeah.
I would just like, energy, you have to pay attention to it. So if it doesn't work for you, that doesn't mean it's bad for everybody. It's just
Right.
not good for you to be involved with whoever this person is.
Right. And a lot of times it's that first impression. And, we're kind of taught, that first impressions are important, but we're also taught give people a chance. Can't tell a book by its cover, all those little sayings that we have. But when you're sensitive, a lot of times we get that thing right out of the gate. No, right out of the gate. And they're like, oh, but they're so nice and they're friends with everybody. And, they just seem like they're so good and they're so fun and so funny. No, we have to listen to that first response. And it doesn't mean we have to do a big, you're out, but you kind of put the shields up.
You just be cautious. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I wouldn't ever be like, I'm never going to interact with you at all, but I'm just going to be like, I'm going to watch you. I'm going to finally pay attention to the red flags, and I'm not going to get in too deep.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny, I dated someone years ago. And when I first met the guy, just like you were saying, I was like, oh God, no, no. No, oh no, but he was charming and manipulative, and he later told me that because I said no, he set his sights on me. He didn't like me. He didn't care. He liked the challenge. And I had those red flags. Nope, no, no, no. And just fell right in. 3 years of dating somebody that ended up being a narcissistic psychopath.
Wow.
I'll tell you what now. I can smell those guys from 1,000 miles away from that experience because they have a certain vibe, and I can feel that vibe. And even with working with people, I have a lot of people, getting reading stuff, and they're like, oh my gosh, blah, blah, blah. And as soon as it's this narcissistic energy, it's like, I know that. And I've actually been able to help a lot of people either handle a situation or maybe even get out of a situation because of that experience. So a lot of these things, we can use them to help other people as well. But oh man, it's not listening to that first red flag that's going, no.
Yeah, I used to give everybody the benefit of the doubt, and now I feel like I'm a little bit more on the negative side of things, but it's realistic as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's protecting myself. So I go to like, everybody's going to let you down. So you just kind of have to go with it. Nobody's perfect.
Right.
So, but yeah, it's hard, especially to have to go through those things, but they teach you, and I wasn't paying attention, I was still ignoring red flags. And so the universe is like, well, okay, this is going to finally get you, you're finally going to pay attention to us. And I think trust is a huge part of it. Because if you don't trust yourself, then, you're going to get into bad situations because you're going to try to. My mom had said this one time, but it really stuck with me, is she said that I'm a lighthouse. And so I attract good people and people who need help.
Yeah.
And it's my job to figure out how to identify the difference between the two. Wow. And so I think that's kind of where I'm at now, as opposed to being like, I'm just gonna be friends with you and try to fix you, but not think that I'm fixing you, or just be there. I don't fix people, but just be there to like support them.
Yeah. Yeah. And like anyone who is a bright light, like you are, I saw you from the moment I saw you. I was like, I love her. But you are that bright light, but it's kind of like, you attract all the beautiful things, but you still get the moths, and it's okay. And sometimes they need to come and be in your light for a little bit. Because one of the things is it's recognizing when your time is done with someone as well. Maybe they need to be in your life for a little while. Maybe they need to sip on the nectar of your light. But also,
I like that. That's cool.
But it's like oftentimes it's like it's done. And that's another thing that empaths too, when they know that this time period with a person or even a situation, it can be a job, it can be anything, where it's like, I'm done. And a lot of times we feel it. It's like, oh, I'm done. but then we keep, going forward. We keep staying in that situation too. It's another part of it.
I feel like that, at least for me, is the attempt to try to fit into the world that doesn't have a, well, this sounds kind of negative, but doesn't have a space for me.
Yeah.
Clearly there's a space for me because I'm here, but it doesn't feel like I fit.
Yeah.
And so I do those kind of things when I'm trying to just fit somewhere, with something, with trying to be normal, which I guess I'm maybe trying to do less of now, but it's still like we want to find our community and people that we fit in with. And that's, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a lot of thing that empaths struggle with too, is being that normal. But really there is no normal. And kind of in the world right now, it is normal. Oh,
You don't want that.
it's like, it's not my jam, man. And it really is. And the whole concept of being empath, from my perception too, is it's a new way forward. As we kind of begin to identify, it's like, yeah, I am incredibly sensitive. I do have this empathic quality, and realizing it is a superpower, and it is a beacon to, or a flashlight on our path to help us navigate things, because we're in a time period where things are crazy. And if we don't have this extra, I call it a superpower, to help us navigate, that's why a lot of people are stumbling and falling or staying still. They're just stuck. They're like, I'm not moving. I'm not doing nothing. But with that empathic quality, you can continue to move and operate in your life in a high quality way when you use the superpowers for your benefit, not for everybody else's, right?
Yeah. And I like it being a superpower because it makes you feel more powerful in life. But at the same time, I usually don't use that term because I feel like people then expect me to be able to read their minds,
Oh,
which I mean, I have talked to some empaths who are more in tune to that kind of stuff and
sure.
get accused. Like, I think it was Angela who gets accused of being like a mind reader. I'm not there yet. So I'm maybe one of the lower levels of an empath. So I don't want to tell people, oh, it's my superpower, because then they'll be like, well, what am I thinking right now? I'm like,
Yeah.
no, that's not how it works. I have a
No.
feeling. And even if you were thinking something, I wouldn't know what that is. I'd only know how you were feeling about the thought and even then, yeah. So I'm still on my journey, and the more I trust myself, the more I could potentially maybe get there. But that's
Yeah.
also why I wrote, and one of the reasons why the novel and the idea had been in my head for years. It was, I wanted to write a story about an empath superhero, but it just never worked until it did. But it was
It,
like I had that idea for years, and it just was like, and then I do like that I'm starting to see that in movies and
yeah.
television shows and stuff more now. But even so, it's still not good enough. I need it to be the main character, not like a side character. I need it to, and I
Exactly.
needed her to have actual superpowers. So that's how that all kind of started for me.
Yeah, and the mainstream, the entertainment business, they're getting there. They're getting close. There's starting to be more and more shows with that kind of stuff, which is super exciting. It's super exciting. I love it. There was a Netflix thing that was a while ago. It was called Alphas, and
Oh,
it had a kid that had Asperger's, but he could tap into the information that flows through the air. There was a woman that had the mental telepathy thing, and mental telepathy is a totally different action than the empath thing too. Because I know as a psychic, I had people, they pay me to do a reading for them, and they're like, I don't know, you tell me, you read my mind. What? And I'm like, I'm here to help you. If I don't want to read your mind, I don't want to know what's in there. Thank you very much.
it's like a mind game too. It's like, oh, you can do this, then show me how you can do it so I can
Yep,
trust you. And
yep.
I'm a non-believer. I don't. Nobody's done that to me because I'm not there, but yeah, I don't like that.
No. We just keep telling people mental telepathy is not empathy, even though it ends in pathy.
They sound the same, but they're not.
But they're not. Yeah. And and really empathy is really that feeling. We just have all the feels, and it will translate into a knowing, or into, like with me, it's I get visuals on things, or I'll hear things, not from outside, but in my head. I'm not crazy. My mother had me tested. But
Welcome, Sheldon.
but and it can translate, but pure empathy is feeling everything. And it's really cool. And we were talking too about feeling colors. I feel color, and I have to have my room here kind of soundproofed because I do recordings and the voiceover stuff. And I've got like these black walls, and I'm like, I hate it, but I need it there for soundproofing. And so I just started putting stuff around, and it made all the difference for the energy in the place that I work. And so there's all kinds of things that we can do. But, I think for me, color is a huge thing. Color
Yeah,
makes all the difference.
I really like color too. And as I was telling you before we started, I was a sign language interpreter for a few years, and I was always wearing dark colors, mainly black, but it just has to be darker than your skin tone. And, or if you're black, it has to be lighter than your skin tone. So your hands show up, they don't disappear. And so I have so much black in my wardrobe, but if I had a choice, I would be wearing purples and like brights. It's like I'm all about the color. So when on my days off, I would try to find the outfit that I could have that would just be bright.
Ta-da!
Yeah.
Yeah. I always feel my best when I'm wearing like bright blues and bright purples and that kind of stuff, because it's just wonderful. And my home has color. It's like I look around my home, it's like I live in like this rainbow world. There is nothing
Awesome.
the same. It's fun.
Yeah, I don't know that mine has a lot of color, but I have like posters and stuff on the walls.
Yeah. And that kind of stuff too. That's another thing. Is like, because you feel having things around you that are important, it affects the empath too. If your environment that you live in is not pleasing and uplifting, it can really, really affect you. So it's important for empaths to have environments that reflect their joy and their passion. And, if it's color, that kind of stuff too. And, not having clutter and all kinds of stuff like that is too the feng shui aspect. Cause I know with me, if I have stuff piled up, which I have a little back here, or if the kitchen is a mess or something, I'd have like anxiety attacks. And I used to just think I was like full on OCD. And it really has turned out that it's just because I'm sensitive to the flow of energy. I'm sensitive to what's happening energetically in a room, even without people in it. So
Yeah.
that's another aspect. There's so many layers.
Yeah, I'm starting to realize that for myself, which my mom's probably really happy about. But because I was always like, I thought it didn't bother me, but being in my own space, and it's harder here because it's a very small space, so I don't have a lot of places to put things. And so but I noticed when I got kind of organized my kitchen a little bit and I organized my living room, it felt better. It was like, oh, almost like I could breathe a little better. And I was like, oh, goody. Not now. I have to work on organizing more. So decluttering and stuff like that. And when you were talking about having things that are uplifting for you, I'd gotten not poster, but I'd gotten a calendar, one of those like hanging calendars with all the women from Supernatural. And it has like an empowering phrase that they standby or whatever for each one. And so I saw somebody else online take them all apart and put them on their wall. And so now every time I move to a new place, I have that there. But right now it's in my tiny little hallway. So I have all the ladies there, and then I have like something hanging here that's also like it's like I think it's from Buddha or something, or it's like, you deserve love as much as anybody else deserves love, your love,
Right.
self-love kind of thing. And then I have like postcards that I wrote, like 2 or 3 sayings on that I never look at, but they're there. So it's
But
just
you
like,
pick them up subconsciously too.
yeah. So that hallway could be like my inspirational hallway. Occasionally, like right before bed, I'll stand in like my power pose in front of the ladies and read each one, and then turn around and look at the thing hanging that Buddha said. And that, yeah. So if I'm in a mood, and even talking about it brightens me up too.
Yeah, I love that. That's so good. It's so good for a sensitive to have that kind of stuff. And even if you're not stopping and reading it all the time, you're subconsciously picking up on that. So every time you move through your hallway, it's all marinating you with all that good energy. Awesome. That's what empaths need. We need that nurturing and that upliftment. And that's why it's so important that we be aware of kind of what we're feeding our minds on too. Because I know, oh my gosh, I watched something the other night, and it wasn't that disturbing in the world, but it really bugged me, and I had a stomach ache for 2 days. Because that's where my empath stuff, it goes, I'm a thrower upper. And it's
Ooh.
when stuff hits me like that, that's where it goes. And empathy is so related to the navel chakra too. And the empathic superpowers is related to that emotional creative center. And even as I was watching it, I'm like, this is gonna hurt. This is gonna hurt. It's like, red flag. Don't do
Yeah.
it.
I don't typically watch, well, I've never watched the news. I don't read the newspaper. And I still remember when I was working at the candy store and a lady came in talking to me about whatever was going on. And I was like, I'm sorry, I don't know. And she's like, then this customer proceeds to judge me.
Right.
And what I'm doing with my life. And I've proceeded to say, I like this rock that I live under. I have everything in its place and where it needs to go. And I'm happy with it. Back off, like, you do you, I'll do me. Like, it's not, why do we have to insert ourselves? I don't, but why do people have to insert themselves into other people's lives? Because it doesn't matter. Stay in your own lane.
I love that, though. I love this rock I live under. Everything's in its place. What a cool response. I'm feeling that, if you don't mind.
No, that's totally fine. Yeah, no, I don't know when I came up with it, but maybe it's because people would always be like, what, are you living under a rock? And I'm like, yes, I like it. I like it under here. It's warm. Like there's, so.
I have all my favorite things.
Yeah. Nobody bothers me and judges me about being under the rock because I'm under the rock.
Wink, wink.
Yeah.
Nudge, nudge. Yeah. And it is, we don't, watching the news is just a horror story anymore, and I know I don't watch TV. I don't watch the news. I'm a Netflixer, right? I love my Netflix. I watch my happy love, rom-coms. And I watched something when the whole pandemic-y thing started, and I was just like, oh my God. And it was just this like terrorizing energy of mayhem and confusion. And I thought, is this what's going on out there? No wonder I'm in my own rock. It looks like a house, but it's my rock I'm under. It's like, I want nothing to do with that. And we have that choice. We can do that. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah,
We
I
do
feel
not
like
have
if
to
the
be in the
news,
mix.
sorry, I feel like if the news advertised anything that was positive, if there was like, what is it that John Krasinski does now? It's the Some Good News. So he's like, have you seen that?
No, but I love hearing about it.
Yeah, I don't know how consistently he does it or if he's still doing it. But he was at the very beginning of COVID, he started doing this like it's SGN, so it's some good news, and he reports on like just from his house, on his own, just because he wants to do it. He goes on social media and he finds like a positive thing that somebody has done, or like if the news was like that, then I might watch it. But I know that apparently this is what has, up until now, let's just say that bad news sells, and so that's what they put out there, is because that's what's going to get views. But not for people like us, not for empaths. We don't watch the news because of that. Like, I will totally go and watch John Krasinski's Some Good News, because it's like, oh, somebody helped out a friend, or they all put a prom together for people who couldn't do prom because of COVID. And, it's just, and then he's like dancing with them at prom. Sometimes his wife makes an appearance. So, it's just like,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
I think he was doing it pretty consistently, but I haven't seen, it hasn't popped up on my feed recently. So I don't know.
Yeah, they might be censoring it because they don't want any good news. Oh, did I say that out loud?
Yeah, I mean, he's just like a famous actor who's doing it. It's not, on a
And
news
that's so cool.
station. Yeah, I think it was a great idea.
Yeah, we need more of that. And that's why it's so wonderful that you're doing this, Hillary. You're getting the word out. You're touching people. You're giving people like, oh my gosh, that's what's going on with me. This is so important, because you're not going to see it on the news. And you're probably not even going to really see it much in any form of movies, not at this point. And so you're helping so many people.
Not until mine.
Yeah. When Hillary's movie comes out, we'll do some ASMR.
Yeah. I think the first one's going to be a TV show, and then the second novel is going to be a movie. So baby steps, right?
The time is right. The time is right for this kind of stuff, because people are hungry for it. People are hungry for understanding what is going on, and especially the sensitives and the psychics and the people, that have what I'm calling superpowers, that honestly, everybody has an aspect of it. It's just how developed it is, or how much they themselves have developed it too. Because you can develop an empath, an empathic quality. You can develop that, but it takes work.
Yeah, as does everything.
And then once you develop it, you have to learn how to protect it.
Yeah.
You have to learn how to shields up and white light and say no.
Well, I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't feel like it was important to get it out there, because I love my family, but I definitely feel like I feel deeper than most people that I interact with. And so it's very hard for other people to understand me. So this terminology, I don't really feel like was out there when I was little. And so it's, to discover that for myself now I'm just, I don't know, it's a platform that I'm passionate about and that I can use. And the interesting thing is like, okay, well, it started from me writing my novel. This novel has kind of exploded my life, because
I love it.
It initially was a selfish thing, because I was like, I'm just going to write a story down so that then somebody can convert it to a screenplay, and then I can finally act in something and prove to everybody and myself that I can actually do it. And then it turned into like, no, this is going to be a novel. No, it's going to, you're going to have to go through all the, so, and now it's like, oh, well, because of that fictional novel, you can now, do this. It can inspire this, even though I do worry a little bit that people who watch this will think that it's like a biography, because I wrote a book called Empath Uncovered, and now I'm doing empath interviews, and it's not, it's fiction with, drizzled some truth from my life in it. But yeah,
I think all authors do that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I did want to put that out there, that it is a fictional story. And then this just kind of inspired it from the novel to do interviews. And my friend was like, yes, that sounds like, do it. That's a great idea. So Like, okay.
I'm so thrilled that you did that. I mean, when you told me, "Oh, I have a book," I'm like, "What? Oh my god. Oh my god." I was so excited, and I have it. I have it sitting right here. And it's going into my bedroom so I can start reading at night as I get ready to go to sleep. I wanted to get to it before this interview, and I just, oh my gosh, my world is gone. And I have so many things going on. So I apologize for not being completely prepared. But
That's okay. You don't have to be. You don't have to read it to have come and talk
are
about
you
your
kidding me?
experience in the world.
That's true. But I'm so proud of you. I can't even stand it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's interesting because the writing part was not the hard part. The second one it's a little bit more hard because it's like getting it all together. It's completely different writing processes. But the first one was just really easy because I did it when I was at work and I had a lot of downtime. So
Oh, that's cool.
yeah. Yeah, when I moved to the pop-up location, I'd finish my work and then I'd have like 3 to 4 hours left. And if no customers were there, then I'd just sit and, type
Oh,
on my
that's
laptop
awesome.
and then email it to myself. So it was like dedicated time to it. And I should do that now, but I don't dedicate time to it. It's more of like if I'm feeling it, because a lot of times there's nothing there. And but there wasn't when I was working at the candy store either. And I just started writing and something came out. So and I was not relearning, but remembering how to write a story because I hadn't done it in years. So I really feel like the next one is going to be even better. So,
Yeah,
uh,
and absolutely, that's kind of the writing process too. You open Pandora's box and it gets going, and it's you're learning and growing with everything that you do. So that's amazing. I
yeah,
can't wait for the movie.
yeah, that's like, oh,
I'm holding it in my vision
yes. Well,
with
hold
my
hold the TV show
superpowers.
because I think the first one's going to be a TV show, and I think that would be good because then it would also get more people to see it, so that then when a movie comes out later, then is that what Shadowhunters did? I think actually they did the opposite. They did a movie and then they did a TV show. Or I don't know.
We don't have to do it the same way it's been done.
No, that was what I was telling myself the entire process of publishing it because, well, you could go through a publisher, but I don't want to do that. I'm going to self-publish it myself and I'm going to try to do it as cheaply as possible and, get my aunt to edit it and get, as many free things as possible. But you still have to spend the money. And I think I'll spend the money this next time. I've already contacted the cover artist for the second one and
Ooh, I
sent
love
him
it.
inspiration photo, and he's like, yeah, that I see that. And I'm like, that's good because you're the artist and I just have a concept. I can't see it. I don't really but it's the
Yeah,
same
that can
thing.
be frustrating too. I'm so glad you have somebody to help you with that.
Yeah, so I don't know what I'm going to do about the editing because I feel bad about asking my aunt again, but I'll probably pay somebody to do it. I don't know, whatever happens. And I think I might have found a screenwriter, but it probably wouldn't happen until next year because he has a bunch of classes right now.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was kind of exciting.
That is so amazing. I'm so glad that you're moving forward and continuing this going because I think it's so important. I really do, Hillary. I know there's a lot of people out there who have struggled with this kind of a thing. Being an empath isn't an easy thing. It isn't something simple. It's complicated, and it can be a little bit, I guess we could say confusing. And you're really getting out there and helping a lot of people that need some clarity at a time when the world needs clarity. It's a lot bigger than you think. I really
Yeah,
feel that way.
it's just moving slow, which is probably better and healthier, but I'm like impatient. Like I want it all now.
It's
Come
like, I
on.
just want it done.
Yeah, I feel like Veruca from I don't care how, I want it now. Uh,
And it's really the journey. It's where all the learning happens. And I get that way too. Anything that I do, it's like, I just want it done. I just want it done. And it's that journey that's so powerful.
yeah, that's
And
definitely what happened at the end of it. I was like, I'd written it and it had been written for a year, and I was like trying to get it published for a year with all the moving parts. And then I was just like, I'm done. Like I've been done with this and moving on for a year. And I just needed to get out there. I don't even care if the editing is not done. I just need it to be done because I've been done for a year.
I love it. I love it. And you did it.
I did.
You did
Yeah.
it. Wow. So
Apparently
cool.
more's coming.
Can
So
I ask you a question really quick?
I would love for you to ask me a
I'm gonna
question.
flip the script on you.
Do it.
When did you actually realize that you were an empath where it was like that aha moment? How long ago has it been?
That's a really good question. I was thinking of asking you, and I was like, oh, but I don't even have an answer for it. It's been a few years for sure. I don't have a pinpoint thing. I think I must have seen the term somewhere, and I was like, oh, and then maybe just just kind of how things progressed. I'm not really sure how it happened. I just know it did, and I think the probably aha for me was when I started joining Facebook groups for it and then seeing people post their experiences and being like, oh, it's not me just thinking that this is what I am. And I did talk about this in a previous video, but I'll say it again. So it was also difficult because right around the time I was embracing it, somebody who claims to be an empath, in not so many words, basically told me I wasn't one because I didn't suffer as much as she did. So yeah. So it was like, she's probably up here and she can't go outside because she has all of these different things that, so her exact words were, you should do more research before you say that you are one. And so to me, that's very much like, you're not one. So you need to do more research because you don't suffer the way that I suffer to the amount that I suffer. And in my opinion, empaths wouldn't say something like that to anybody else, let alone another empath. So that kind of, when I was starting to trust it and believe that that was what I was, and then went completely down and exploded. So that kind of deterred my process of figuring it out for myself. And so I think that I've moved past it, but it's still there. So and I still have doubt, and I've talked to other empaths who have doubt too. I think that's part of the process where we don't claim to be perfect. We don't claim to know everything about being it just because we identify as one. And I would never do that to anybody, even before having that experience with this woman.
Oh.
So yeah.
And there's levels and layers of it too.
Exactly.
And different people experience it differently. And some people really kind of enjoy the drama of it.
Yeah.
Some
Drama
people
queen
enjoy the
and
attention of it.
yeah.
And that's okay. That's their journey too. That's their journey too. But we do have to respect, and somebody that really is in the empathic thing, we don't want to hurt others because we know how much that hurts.
We felt it, whether it's ours or somebody
Yeah.
else's. A lot of times it's ours, but
Yeah. And the doubt. And it was funny, as you were talking, I was thinking back to when we were both working in the play, and we did it for you. And it just occurred to me, to be a good actress, and we don't have to be, the mega stars, but to be a good actress, I think you almost have to be able to be empathetic, right, with your characters and stuff like that. But what great actors and actresses empaths are, because we can kind of embody, we can feel the energy, of the words of the situations. Because I remember when we were doing that, and the first time we had dress rehearsal, and I stood on the stage, and I just went, oh, I feel it all. And it kind of like shook me to where I was shaking when I was the flag lady. And it was just like, oh my gosh. And it's got to be being able to really feel that, to be able to really embody characters and stuff like that. I would love to actually see some research on how many actors and actresses actually line up with the empath thing too. It'd be really interesting to see.
Yeah, it was interesting. My mom said again a while ago, but it stuck with me that she said that I'm an emoter.
Ooh.
Between being an actor and an emoter, I'm not an actor, I'm an emoter. And because I
Mm.
actually feel it, and the audience can feel it from me. And there was one thing on stage where I was the main character. I'll do it with both hands, main character. I do that a lot.
I love it. You were the main
But I
character.
only came in the last 30 minutes. So it was the whole show was about me. It was The Bachelorette.
Oh,
And
cute.
yeah, and so I had lost too much weight, but I was Rebel Wilson's character, who, to give you an idea of how I
Oh,
was supposed to
that's
be
so
bigger.
cool.
But it was the first time anybody had ever said, like, gestured at all of me and been like, you are her. And I was. And it was a lot of fun. But I think it was either my mom or my sister or both of them that said, I think it might have been my mom, that says when I was on stage, I like glow. Like and she's like, I don't think it's because I'm your mother and I'm biased. I think you actually glow. And one of the other women, her sister who came to see the show twice, I was her favorite character. And her sister was in the show. So yeah, I really like that because I think that acting is great and there are some really good actors, but I prefer to be an emoter because I feel like it's more real and genuine. You're actually experiencing the emotion and you can portray it to other people, even if
Yeah.
you've never actually had that experience or situation or whatever, you can still feel it.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. And that's a big part of acting training too, is being able to drop into that emotion. And I do, I played with, with that thing that we did together. And then, being a voice actor, a big part of it, because you're only using your voice, you really have to embody the emotion of it. And that's why I keep telling you, don't stop. You keep working up towards that because you're good at that. You're good at that.
yeah, no, that's why I do all the like dub stuff on TikTok and Dub Smash before Dub Smash became a dancing app. I just totally don't get that at all. That's not how it started. Um, but yeah, so I do that because that's my outlet to act because I'm kind of it's kind of what happened with theater where I was always in the background, or I was always an ensemble, or I was doing like behind the scenes stuff. It's kind of what film has turned into as well. And not even like background work. I'm literally in the back. Like I'm like a PA, or which is good to get experience. And I love the energy of being on film differently than a film set differently than being in theater.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just like I've been in the back. I've been in the background in the dark my whole life. I'm ready to have some spotlight, please.
Yes. And you were making your own way.
I'm trying.
That is awesome.
Yeah. I'm
I
trying at
love it.
least, People are going to see me whether they want to or not. I don't
Right.
know.
Open your eyes and behold.
Yeah, I have arrived.
I love it. I love it. And you so deserve it, Hillary. You just are so amazing. And I just absolutely adore you. I mean, I am so sincere when I say when I first met you, and I honestly don't remember because I've known you for a long time.
Yeah.
It's like, I just went, oh, I love her. It's like, yeah, this is good. I remember I would like when we would be doing stuff and I'd like oh, there's Hillary. I'm gonna go sit by her.
And I'm so different. Like I was meek and quiet and didn't really have access to my voice. And, Tara had to get me do jumping jacks while I was doing my lines to even attempt to be a teenager, to look like a teenager because I was so like, it was doing film acting, not theater acting. She taught me how to do theater acting. It's just
Yeah.
hard. I'm already big to like be in my body and be big enough for everybody to see. Is even where I'm at now is still a little difficult. I talk with my hands, but I don't like yeah, so that was a really great jumping into it experience too,
Yeah.
especially because I came in and I had half my lines memorized after I'd had the script for like a week. And And
It was
everyone's, whoa. I still remember that one time. This is not even connected to what we're doing anymore, but I still remember that one time where somebody forgot their line and we were doing rehearsal like before we were going to do it that night. And I knew the line because I have to know everybody's lines because the cue line is like in the front of the paragraph or the middle of the paragraph or something. So I knew it, but I didn't want to like to step on anybody's toes. And so now people are like trying to find a script to know what it is. And eventually I was like, I said the line and everybody just started laughing hysterically that
I
I knew.
remember that.
I knew their line. And then the other time when it was like I said something or I got awkward longer and everybody laughed and I was like, what? I just did the same thing I'd always been doing. I just don't know why are you all laughing at me?
Oh, those were good times. Those were good times. Yeah, you're amazing. I saw your light and your beauty from the beginning, and it's like it just in seeing you just growing and blossoming and look where you're at now. I'm like, whoa. I mean, I saw some light, but you're revealing. Whoosh, 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 woo.
Yep, I'm always evolving. Every year I'm a different person,
Yeah.
a better person than I was at the beginning of the year. But this year, whew, it's just like,
So amazing.
wow.
So awesome.
Yeah.
So awesome. And I just hope everybody buys your book because
I do too. It's slowed down a lot. And some people are like, well, COVID's the perfect time because nobody's doing anything. So they could buy the book. I'm like, yes, but they also don't have any money because they all lost their jobs. So it's just, like I have one friend who still hasn't bought it. You know, she's getting all these other books from other people that are giving her books, but she can't buy mine. So it's only $15. Yes, it's a small book, but you know.
Yeah, but it packs a punch.
That's better than $20 or $30. And then you can get it on Kindle for like $4. So
exactly. Everybody who's listening, go get it now.
Get the 4 people, please.
Hey, that's awesome.
People watch later.
And this is held in perpetuity. And also, I'll be putting this on my YouTube channel too. You know, once we get done here, and that'll go up there because I have a thing on there, and I have a lot of people visit. I don't have a lot of followers, but I have a lot of people visiting it because I'm just getting started. So you never know who you're going to reach with this stuff.
Yeah. I'm putting it out there, being more and more vulnerable every day.
Yeah, I know. It's like, eek. Oh yeah, eek.
Yeah. Yay. Yay.
That's like when I do the Facebook lives. You know, when I first used to do them, I'd be like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And now even I'm like, eek, okay, here I go. Diving in.
Yeah. I've always been very expressive and kind of want to share all aspects of my life with everybody, which is also what I'm a little bit nervous about if things do get bigger, because I don't want to, I overshare and I have my whole life. And so I'm trying to like, is this okay to share? Should I not share this? I do get a little nervous about sharing my cyber stalker experience in case she gets back to me because, or finds it that, you know, it gets to her somehow. And that, because that was really, really hard. It's in the novel, not exactly the same, but I also did just film a documentary for people in their 30s. And, you know, saying like how great it is to be in your 30s. It's not like the end of, it's not, you're not getting old. You're actually finally stepping into your power. And it's just like amazing. And I'm so excited about it. But I talked about pretty much everything in my life. And it was interesting because I had to talk. I didn't have to, but they asked me about more specifics of the whole process of how that started and the pain. And I realized I've been giving an elevator speech about it for years. But I haven't been going into it and saying, this is what happened. This is, you know, it was, I don't remember ever feeling that vulnerable in front of a camera before. And it was all me. And so I'm a little scared for it to come out.
That's powerful. But you know what? I think a lot of times, because I understand, because my experience at that San Juan Capistrano house, you know, same thing. And I think a lot of times when we become a victim of other people's bad behavior.
Yeah.
You know, we want to hide it away and we are embarrassed and we are afraid that's going to come back. But I also feel like a lot, because I've just started talking about my experience more too. But I think when we take it and we reveal it for what it really was, and that we take their power away. Because as long as we're holding it, they still have that power.
Yeah. Well, initially it was too painful. It was too close. I couldn't say it. So I had to have friends explain it to my other friends. And then I could say it, but I just didn't want to talk about all the specifics because why? There's, no point. And I started off when I was going through that, like, I'm nobody. Who am I for anybody to believe? I still have that a little bit in other aspects of my life, but, the reason they said, do you feel comfortable sharing this? And I said, okay. And then as I was sharing it, I'm like, I'm really uncomfortable. Like, I'm really nervous. And, but I did it anyway, because I think it's important.
Yeah.
At some point I don't think I told them this. I did go to the police station, but because I wasn't physically threatened and she doesn't live anywhere near me, they couldn't do anything. And actually the woman that talked to me was a bitch, which was not cool. So yeah, it's still there, but it's
interesting, huh?
Yeah,
And
it's way less painful. But
my
it's
experience.
still hard to talk. But yeah, everything I'm doing, I'm sharing, even if I'm nervous about it, because it's important, and I feel like I'm doing it for the me out there that needed it at that time and didn't have somebody who was saying, this is what I've been through. If you've been through it too, even reach out to me. I've never said that before, but like, if somebody's going through it too, please. Because
I think that kind of stuff happens way more than it's talked about, because people are afraid and people are embarrassed and people are, have been kind of shunned. Because I know when I went through my thing, because there was a whole lot more than what I shared here, but I went to the police and I said, I am afraid. And they're pretty much like, nothing you can do. And I had to wait until this person left the house, and I had moving trucks around the corner. And when this person went to go to the gym, and I know they're gone for 3 hours, I was like, go, 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 go. I had like 8 movers in my house, pack everything up. I'm out of here. I had to flee like a refugee from my own home. And people need to hear about that, because these things happen a lot more than we know. And I think really revealing the story and revealing that is another way that you're helping people.
Yeah, and especially with
because
the online aspect of it too. Like, people don't take the online bullying seriously.
Yeah,
And so
and
more
it's real.
people need to share that it's not okay. I'm not going to kill myself about it, but people do, because it's bad. You can't get away from it. It's everywhere. Like, she had my phone number, she had my social media stuff, she created a fake profile, and then, it was just like, I couldn't get away from her. So it was like I was living in hell. Like, I couldn't. Yeah,
I'm so sorry you had that experience.
Thank you. I mean, I wouldn't want to go through it again, but I do understand why I had to go through it. And I learned a lot about myself and what I was allowing to happen in my life, and the people I was allowing to get close to me. And that's why I'm a little bit more like, I don't trust anybody.
And rightfully so. And that brings us back to kind of like where we started too. Say no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Say no. If it doesn't feel right, it's not right.
And listen to the red flags, please.
Especially when they're everywhere.
Don't talk to this person. They're trying to land a plane.
Oh my gosh, it's so true. It's so true. And we're all getting smarter. We're all growing. And especially in the, with the empaths, and that it's becoming something that people are talking about. And we're starting to realize that we aren't some freak of nature that can't function in the world. That isn't it at all. We function in a heightened way. We just need to learn to navigate it, and to listen to those red flags and scream. It's funny. I just in my mind, because this is how I work, I just saw one of those minions, that the little guy with the he's got like the sirens on his head going, wee, wee, wee. that a minion just ran through my head.
I used to have somebody had given me a because I was used to post like the memes with all of them, not because I was super into the minions, but they had good sayings with them.
Awesome.
So somebody gave me a piggy bank of it, but I don't have it close. So that's why when you said it, I immediately looked around. I was like, oh, I could show you, but I don't have it.
It's so
And we've actually gone over because I feel like we were just like getting into the good stuff. Because I typically do it for an hour. People's attention spans are, including mine, aren't that long.
that's
Um,
awesome.
yeah. So I know you kind of just already did this, but if you have any specific advice you want to leave on for people going on the journey of discovering they're an empath or struggling with being one before we leave.
You know what? Really, something that I really want people to know is, for one thing, be really gentle and nurturing to yourself and listen to what's happening to you, because that doubt creeps in a lot of times because we're comparing our experience or our feelings to other people, and really trust what you are feeling and what you are experiencing. It's yours, and you're allowed to have that experience, and you're allowed to process it as you need to, and listen to the red flags. Say no to the things that hurt you and love yourself. And that's one of the biggest things, because someone that feels, a lot of times we're kind of more outwardly focused, and it's like bringing it in and just really loving yourself. Because when you can love yourself and just be in that space of, I'm important and I matter, and my experiences are my experiences, and they're real, that it'd be so much easier to begin to put up those boundaries and take care of yourself and listen to those red flags, and have to stop fitting in. We don't have to fit in anywhere. We're our own amazingness. And now we're all starting to connect up because of shows like this, Hillary. And then we won't feel so alone, too.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So I just want to do like a tiny housekeeping thing before we go. So I did post on the description all of my social media information and all of your social media information. So if anybody wants to contact either one of us, they can do that. I did make a note that for me, the best place to get in contact with me is Facebook, because I am addicted, and it's the one that I understand the best. I'll have all the other stuff, but I don't really get it. So that should all be in the description. So if you just go and look at that, you can contact us, and that would be great. And then we're actually going to do another one this next weekend, which would be Saturday, February 27th, again at 1:30. And this time it's going to be with Aaron Mann, who I actually got from Nate for when he was watching. That's our connection. So I did an interview with Nate and then contacted Aaron because he's like, I'm an empath and I'm interested. And I was like, okay. So I met him the other day online. And now that's going to happen this next weekend. So tune into that.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Hillary. This is so much fun.
Yeah,
And
thank you so much for coming and being on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. It was nice to be able to catch up with you, too.
Yeah, for sure. Shouldn't wait so long next time.
I love you. You're amazing. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I will talk to you and everybody else later. Bye.